SMT Nation, we back. Nation, I'm really starting to find some incredible things happening within my market for the Verizon network. There's a few really important pieces of what they're doing here that I think are also going to be happening across the country in many of the major metros. And you're going to see them in the urban and the city core. You're going to see them in suburban. And of course, we'll see some of this action in rural as well. But I want to give you all the details of what I'm seeing, what it means for the company, and how this impacts the networking landscape in the industry across all of the major mobile network operators like Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And I'm going to tell you what distinguishes Verizon from the others. All right, so I will definitely give you all those details here. I got a ton of photos to show you guys and share and explain stuff. And if you appreciate these types of videos and appreciate what we're doing here on the channel, you could support the channel directly with the real SMT Buy Me a Coffee link. Keep the SMT caffeinated and motivated. Link is in the description. There's other ways to support your channel creators as well. All right, another way is to consider checking out our partner, Mint Mobile, our wireless partner, who can help you save a lot of money and give you incredible value on wireless service. They just upgraded all their plans. They added more data. They kept pricing the same. Who does that in today's economics? Truly an incredible value. Such a great company, and we're happy to partner with them to save you money and let you guys know what's going on there. You could support us by using our partner link. It's in the description. All right, so this particular location, this is on Center Ridge Road in Westlake, Ohio. And as I was driving by, this is a location that I think, well, I thought it was an AT&T site, right? But then when I drove by Columbia Road, which is an intersection that's like a, I don't know, maybe like a quarter mile west of this location, I saw that there was a Dish, AT&T, T-Mobile site right by the CBS or Walgreens. I forget what it is. So I guess it wasn't an AT&T site, but I couldn't see the gear at the time when the gear was up there. All right, so I never really paid it any mind. Today I was driving by and I noticed some antennas. So I stopped and I tested, and it was Verizon 5G UW previously when I never had it. So then I got closer to see if I could identify the gear. And I did. I was able to locate it. It looks exactly like another rooftop site that I found in a neighboring city that only had two antennas, which is very atypical of what Verizon does. Typically what you see from Verizon, you see two very large antennas, and then you see two smaller antennas. Well, in this particular instance, I only see the one semi-large antenna with the N77 C-band antenna. There's no cbrs on the site. There's no secondary antennas, the smaller ones for like AWS, PCS. Basically, what I think is happening here is the one larger antenna has everything on there except for N77 and CBRS. Right, so the band 2, the band 66, the band 13, the band 5. And then N77 C-band is at the top. No CBRS on the site. Mind you, there is a CBRS small cell that's a half a mile away. That might be why they didn't feel compelled to do this. Now, this sector is facing north towards the lake. There is a sector behind it that is facing south. And then there is a sector facing west. So there's no sector facing east, technically. I think this one's more like a southeast sort of. And, you know, to the east of this is where the small cell, the CBRS small cell is. Anyways, let me give you guys some better view of this. Okay, so here's the N77 C-band. It's the smaller one. Sorry for the power lines and the fiber cables and stuff. And then the one large one below it that's got everything else that isn't N77 and no CBRS on this one. At least I don't think there is. I don't think this antenna does it. It might passively, I don't know. But not that I know of. Here's a speed test when I first connected to it. Folks, okay, so the 30 ping is very average, right? NSA, non-standalone 5G, whatever. But you see the signal is very strong, and the downlink throughput is incredible. This is a 60 megahertz channel of N77, folks. Verizon does own 140 megahertz here. We're waiting on the rest of the clearance, which is going to happen at the end of this year. But this is clearly a 10 gig circuit, because typically on a 1 gig fiber circuit, you'd probably only get, like, best case scenario, like 650 megabits. I'm getting over 800. I think it peaked at like 820 or 830. and I was getting over 100 megabits per second uplink. Okay, so this is very, very fast, very speedy, very capacitive site. So that's the one sector that I tested, the one I showed you. This is the other one that's facing like east, southeast sort of, where you could see it's kind of like right behind. So this is the one that was facing the street. So this is on the opposite side of the property. By the way, it's like Travel Center of America or something. I think it's the name of the business, headquartered there in Westlake. All right, and then there's another one that's like over here facing the opposite direction. Here's a speed test testing that one. 741 down and like 79 up. All right, so there's that. Yeah, here's that other sector I was explaining. So here's the one that's facing the street. Here's the one that I just showed you on this side. And then there's this one facing over here. It's standing up right there. And that's this one. So you get a kind of like a good view. This is the N77. This is a Samsung radio gear equipment antenna. The radio is built into the antenna. And then here, all the radios are going to be down, nestled on the rooftop here. And you can see all the connections. So when I look at all these connections, this is why I think it's got both low bands and it's also got the AWS and the PCS. I might be wrong. Any engineers out there could comment. I just know that I've only recently started seeing this antenna for Verizon in my market. And they're always on rooftops. Always on rooftops. And this is interesting because and this is where I'm going with this. And actually, let me show you guys the speed test. See, 865 on the downlink, 75 on the uplink. And here's just the third one that I did anyways, 758 down. So let me go back to this. Verizon's starting to do this in more places. They don't do this on macros, traditional like the steel, the ones that they erect like the poles in the sky. They only do this on the new rooftop sites. So I think I figured out what's going on. They're splitting cells. They're adding more towers. A lot of people said that, like Verizon wouldn't be building new sites, and Verizon, they're going to try to skimp out on the network, and they're not going to be adding densification. Folks, they've got almost 50% market share here. It's like 49%. Even with all the spectrum they have, you want to make sure you've got a quality and redundant network. Folks, they are absolutely, and especially in markets where they have market share, right? Where they're the market leader, they have all these customers. They are not going to falter on their goal to make the best network in the country. They are clearly on that path, clearly on that direction. I know a lot of people think like I'm a Verizon fanboy. Folks, I'm just a fan of networking. If T-Mobile were doing this, they would be getting the same praise from me. If AT&T was doing this, they'd be getting the same praise. But folks, they got two small cells east of this location, 2 macros east of this location, 2 macros west of this location, all within the next 2 miles of each direction. Their commitment to densifying their network and creating redundancy is second to none in the Cleveland market. It is absolutely phenomenal to see what they're doing. Big shout out to the Verizon network engineers in the Cleveland market. Absolutely impressive. It's truly becoming the most capacitive network in this area. T-Mobile has a lot of spectrum on air. They got 140 megahertz of N41, and they've basically upgraded all their sites, and it's very fast, right? But what Verizon is doing is densifying. They're doing small cells right now. I'm seeing all types of new small cells. I'm seeing new rooftop sites, and all the macros are getting upgraded that are already existing. We're basically getting a macro every mile or better. We're getting small cells sprinkled all over the place on top of the ones that already exist. And folks, this is called a zero build. This is where Verizon owns, builds, constructs, manages, operates its own network sites. This is not owned by Crown Castle. This is not built by Crown Castle. This is a Verizon zero build. This is on MCI fiber. This is Verizon's commitment to owning and operating their network. It future-proofs the economic, payouts of these types of sites and operations. This is the difference. This is what everybody's been talking about, the difference between like Verizon and T-Mobile, right? Verizon more the owner of their network, T-Mobile more the renter in creating their network. Two different ways to do it, right? There's more than one way to skin a cat. That's what a man from the South told me. All right, so not to say one is better than the other, but from the economics of it, obviously it's always better to be the owner. So this is happening. I don't know if this is happening where you guys are, right? And like I said, this is a unique setup. Now I've seen it a few times, so I can basically confirm it. When Verizon does a zero build and they want to add capacity and split cells, right, so they can have more overlap and redundancy, this is what they're doing. They're putting one mid-band 5G antenna panel with the radio, the N77, the C-band, Samsung radio gear, and then this one, which I don't know. I'm not sure if this is, I don't think they're using Nokia. This could be CommScope. I don't think it's Nokia. They stopped using Nokia. I don't know. Maybe it's Samsung. I have no idea. But this one has all the other frequencies, the band 2, the band 66, the band 13, the band 5. I don't think it's CBRS. It might be passive. I don't know. I can't see the radios. They're probably down here somewhere, right? But truly incredible stuff. Folks, look, T-Mobile did a great job building out their network, and they've really created a lot of capacity. But I don't think Verizon's going to be outdone by anybody. Not based on the spending, not based on this redundancy, this overlap. It's incredible. What do you guys think? Sound off in the comment section below. You all the voice of the people of the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard.